All right, my name is Hiram Shelton. This is my video on gender bias. Um, with starting out with legislation, I think historically there are many laws that have been influenced by gender bias. Um, there's been, especially surrounding like domestic violence and things where women are victims. I think often um, that women are not listened to, especially in history. Obviously, we've made a lot of progress in that area, but I think there is still some lingering um, stereotypes and lingering bias where women as victims often get the short end of the stick. And yeah, so a lot of laws that have been written, I believe, they reflect societal uh, attitudes, and they minimize the seriousness of offenses. Same thing with enforcement. I think often police officers, when listening um, to victims, they often can minimize the situation um, and kind of downplay the seriousness of offenses. And in courtrooms, uh, gender often does affect outcomes. Research indicates that female defendants receive different treatment compared to male defendants and often face harsher sentences for similar crimes. Um, and then often we have juries that I think it's just natural for people to kind of have a bias based on gender, and um, unfortunately, it really does kind of often reflect negatively on women, and so women don't actually have they're not heard, and are often not given as fair of a chance as men in those situations. And then for corrections, it's much more obvious, I feel like, that women are mistreated just due to the lack of resources and lack of medical preparations for women. They are often not adequately equipped to address the needs of female inmates, especially when due to like pregnancy issues or other problems. Females often have more trauma, and they often have far more health concerns that require attention, and so it's not fair for them to be given for men and women to be given the same exact living situations when women have um, you know more need of resources. So yes, I do believe that legislation, enforcement, courtroom decisions, and corrections are all influenced by gender. The Just in our readings, I think it does show there's a pattern of bias and discrimination over the years. And again, I think we're heading in the right direction, but there is still lingering stereotypes, and often, especially women as victims, do not get heard and are not taken as seriously as men are. So, yeah, in today's world, for instance, the hashtag Me Too movement, it's an ongoing issue of sexual violence and harassment, and there's a lot of reevaluation on cases because of we're progressing, but a lot of women have never really been taken seriously, and it's sad how long it's taken for so many cases to really be listened to and taken more seriously. So yeah, in conclusion, I would say that gender is extremely important. There is a lot of gender bias, and it's important for us to kind of recognize that gender bias, and if we're going to actually do anything about it and change things, and actually give fair treatment. And sometimes fair treatment is slightly done accordingly to needs, right? So female corrections are going to be different from male corrections, but it would still be kind of equal in the sense that they would have all of their needs met. So yeah, this is my video, and I will leave my references below, and thanks for listening.